Now, as COVID-19 numbers gradually rise towards a possible third wave, liquor traders in South Africa are growing anxious as they endured devastating restrictions on sales during the pandemic. They have requested to meet with President Cyril Ramaphosa to explore ways in which the liquor sector can support government efforts in the fight against the pandemic without enduring more losses. Meanwhile, religious leaders are also worried about possible restrictions on the gatherings which have previously been imposed at the peak of the pandemic. For more on this, I'm joined by Mr. Lucky Ntimane from the Liquor Traders Association, as well as Bishop Maroti Mashashane from the South African National Christian Forum. Gentlemen, a very good afternoon to both of you, and thank you for your time. Now, let's start with you, Mr. Ntimane. You are requesting a meeting with the president. Your industry was also one of those that was very harshly affected during the lockdown period. What are the type of propositions that you're going to be putting forth to the president?
Good afternoon, Tammy, and thank you for the opportunity. So we have reached out to the president by way of a letter last night, and I'm happy to announce that we have received a response from the president from his private office, indicating that they will look at a suitable time in which we can meet with the president. So we fully appreciate, the speed at which the president was able to respond to us. But essentially, the reason why we wrote to the president is to look at three things that we want to discuss with him. The first one is to really find solutions that are going to not just support the issue of livelihoods that we're fighting for, but also for the lives that the government is busy with. We feel that we have a role to play in making sure that we support government's efforts in fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic. Secondly, we also are calling on the president to get his team to really engage with liquor traders. Since we've been subjected to lockdowns and 20 weeks of non-trading, we have never met with anyone in government who really took us into their confidence in terms of, ensuring that we are party to the decisions that they make that affect our businesses. Lastly, is to make sure that, we push on government to ensure that the decisions that they take are guided by scientific evidence. So far, we have reason to believe that a lot of those decisions have not been guided by scientific evidence. And we want really to get government to level with us and really tell us where they get these guidance that result in them making decisions that really affect us.
And Bishop, from your perspective as the church, some nervousness as well coming from your sector. And in response to this, you have come forward and said that church gatherings should not be considered as super spreader events. Why so, given the fact that a large number of people actually do gather under one roof at the same time?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and thanks for having us this afternoon. We, as the South African National Christian Forum, we are standing strongly to say the churches or the religious gatherings have already demonstrated itself to be compliant and was never declared a super spread. Simply because with all our members or the churches, we have made it a point from the beginning that we do have the compliance officers who check that everyone is sanitizing, everyone is having a mask, the distance inside the church, and our churches, as we all aware, only take place once in a week, which is on Sunday. And again, the maximum period that at the moment we are allowing, it's at least 2 hours. So with that, we believe that whatsoever restrictions that can overemphasize, if it can affect the church, it will be a slap indeed in our face, because we have assured the president during the Easter that he can increase even the limit of gatherings inside the structures, and our members are going to prove themselves that they are compliant and no extra spread will develop from the gathering of religion. And that has been done, and even the president appreciated how we handled the matter. And we promise to stand behind the government and protect lives, making sure that we deal with this unknown and unseen enemy. So all that we need is that the president, whether you're going to do some announcement, we do not see it possible or important or necessity for him to over-restrict the religious gathering, because we have already stated our point and it is very clear, it is undeniable.
Can you acknowledge, though, Bishop, that church gatherings can be potential super spreaders if those type of restrictions are actually not adhered to? So I'm trying to make a distinction here between the compliance on your part as the church and the potential for church gatherings to be super spreader events.
Indeed, it is for that reason that we overemphasize that all our leaders, all our members, meaning the religious practitioners, should not try to relax the restrictions. And we do visit our churches on a surprise to make sure that we are not going to be part of the overspreading. And we are very well impressed. Last week on Thursday, we were having a meeting with the Deputy Minister of COGTA, and indeed, they also confirm and give appraisal to the religious sector, the way we conduct ourselves, even though at the moment we also feel that government must also consider making the religious leaders a priority in this second phase of vaccination, because we deal with the community directly and we do the counseling in the funerals, whether it is of the virus or not. The pastors should always be in the front line for the burial. But so far, indeed, I agree with you. If people are going to relax and not dwell on the same restrictions and follow the health directions or advices, we are going to have a problem.
Mr. Ntimane, let me bring you in here and find out the type of lessons that you've learned as the liquor industry, specifically during the lockdown, and how you are going to take those learnings and implement them into the suggestions moving forward on how to remain open and remain sustainable as businesses without compromising the lives of South Africans.
I think the big lesson for us is that there's no vaccine for poverty. And the bans that we had to endure meant that some of our members could not get back online into trading. Those have lost their businesses for good. And this is something that we cannot allow to continue. But I need to emphasize that the attitude of the liquor traders and the alcohol industry is that we see ourselves as citizens of the country first, meaning that our allegiance is to the government and all its efforts to make sure that we are able to fight the COVID-19 pandemic together. But second to that is the issue of livelihoods, which we feel that government needs to take into serious consideration when they make their decisions pertaining to whether we're allowed to operate or not, or whether there will be restrictions that will be meted out that has an effect on our industry. But we are not arrogant. We are alive to the realities of the ground. We are seeing the cases rising. Hence, ours was to take a proactive stance and to write to government to say, let us have a sit down, let us find common ground that is going to continue to support the issue of lives, which we feel is extremely important, but also the issue of livelihoods, as I've mentioned earlier. There's no vaccine for poverty. And some of the diseases that have been taken in the past have really perpetuated poverty amongst our members. And we cannot allow that to happen.
Mr. Ntimane, Bishop, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That's Mr. Lucky Ntimane from the Liquor Traders Association, as well as Bishop Mashashane from the South African National Christian Forum. Clearly,